don't do this, because you're never this passionate about any information that you spit out. You said a man in Brooklyn. You didn't give us his name. You're lying about the cases that you brought up, and yet you're scolding him for not remembering an exact statute number of whatever crime he did or the time of date it was and what he was wearing a day. Fuck you, bro. This shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Drop a like, leave a comment, let me know you're in here. We finna have fun tonight. What am Logic's back with another one. Today we're going to look at another person that I find to be just one of these really popular online liars. I don't even know if I call them content creators or journalists or commentators or whatever. I don't have a problem with people having wrong opinions. I don't have a problem with people being mistaken. I don't have a problem with people having different ideologies than myself. I have a problem with people that are blatant liars and to an extent bullies. So today we're gonna watch a Tim Pool clip. I couldn't find anything prior to this clip which would give a lot of context to how it got to this moment, because rarely have I seen Tim Pool lose his shit on one of his guests. And it just so happened to be a left-leaning guest that he has that is a younger YouTube commentator that is a very, very soft-spoken, I'm not gonna say passive because he can get aggressive, but Luke Beasley, I've used his content on my channel, but he is a younger, calm commentator. He's not the loud, cursing, back and forth, cut you off every moment type of commentator. He has his moments where he has done that and has gotten frustrated, but for the most part, he's seen as respectful. I don't know what happened prior to this blow up, but Tim just straight up lost his shit on Luke over January 6th insurrectionists and if their sentencing and everything that happened with them was justified. And within it, he just gets everything wrong. He has all this emotion and he's put it on this big boisterous act of just being indignant on how Luke perceives this situation versus how he perceives it. And that's fine. The difference of how you feel about it is fine. But Tim, within his own show, after berating Luke for about 5 minutes, goes to look up something and is proven wrong. But that's nothing new for these guys. So before we get into it, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, if not one, then all three. Now let's get into the video. Like I said, this starts in a very awkward place. It would be nice to know how this conversation was going prior. I could not find anything prior. Tim Pool doesn't have it on his channel. I'm guessing maybe he goes live and then takes it down and posts clips or the whole thing as a video later. I don't know. But he doesn't have it up. So all we got is this about 8-minute clip.
You have.
No,
right?
I haven't.
No, stop. You don't know anything about these January 6 cases. You don't know why these people are in jail. You don't know that a man is in Brooklyn right now for 3 years without charge or trial. And when Donald Trump says these people have been held for too long, you say, no, Trump is wrong. Keep them locked up. That's fucking fascist.
I just wonder how, I'm not going to try to make a defense for Luke that he didn't say. But I know for me, I think in most people, if you were in there being violent, you should be arrested and the sentence should match whatever you did. Even if you walked in for trespassing, whatever that is, it should just match what you did. Yes, there were trespassers that weren't violent. I don't think they should be given the same type of sentencing as people that were violent. People that were damaging things, people that were violent, people that plotted, we're going to get to that. All those people should be held accountable for their actions. But the punishment should match the crime. I think that's a fair stance.
Dude, you have sit here,
and I just don't know what Luke said prior to this, and I do think that this was done intentionally, that this only is clipped Tim's moment of highlight. You know, everybody on the right is losing their shit. Oh, Tim cooked him. He eviscerated him. He taught him. He took him to school. Look at him. He sat in silence. And it's like, well, what happened prior? But what's funny is within this clip, what happens after this, all this scolding, Tim looks like a dickhead.
You've been sitting here with no knowledge of the specifics of some of these cases. There is a man in Brooklyn right now, I'm going to say it again, no charges whatsoever brought. He's been in jail for 3 years.
Why do you keep saying a man? What's his name? What's his name, Tim? Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm informed on every person that got arrested on January 6th and every single crime every person committed and what their sentences was. I don't know all that shit, but I know the highlights.
For you to sit there and say it is good that he remained.
And I just think it's funny that Tim won't say his name, because if you say his name, I can go look it up and then we can match what you're saying to if it's actually based in reality. Sir.
Locked up is fascism. That is saying the hierarchy.
And I just love all this energy for fascism, but no fucks given about Trump trying to sue all of the media that has negative things to say about him and just going after everybody that opposed him. I just love how that's not fascist. I love it.
The hierarchical system of the courts and the government is just, and the process is all that matters. And I am saying perhaps 3 years is enough, because I actually have moral logic
and I think that's based off your opinion. You can have it, but if by the books, literally whatever these people got charged with, to my understanding, you can't really get charged. You can't do time more than what the statute lays out. You can't sentence people to 30 years in prison if the crime only leads to you getting 10. I don't think that's how it works. So whatever they got is probably within the bounds of what they legally can do. And if not, then that's a totally separate issue that you need to be upset about. Don't be upset at Luke. Be upset about the judge that carried out the law, interpreted the law unjustly.
Of these cases. Hence, my position on January 6th has always been the people who have attacked police must go to prison. But 3 years is a long time for assault on an officer.
I don't think that's a long time at all. I don't think 3 years is that crazy for assaulting a police officer, especially if it was in the midst of trying to overturn the government. I mean, come on.
We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges do we get for this?
Is that true? 33 people murdered? Maybe. Hopefully I can find something on that and I'll post it.
Firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate.
That's fucked up too. And if they got caught, I'm sure those people went to jail. I'm sure they went to jail if they got caught. Like, nobody's getting away with crimes if they got caught.
May 29th, 2020, when thousands of far leftists firebombed the White House.
And also, if nobody got hurt, I mean, would you want to give them the same punishment as hurting people? Like, I don't think that somebody that bombed a police station should get the same amount of time as somebody that attacked a police officer on January 6th. I don't think that's equal by any means.
Grounds and set fire to St. John's Church and injured 100 police officers. How many people went to prison for 3 years? How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years? And
do you know that information, Tim? Do you?
Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th, and you are saying that man his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime.
This is what I'm talking about. He's lying now. Now you're just lying, because why are you acting like being charged with seditious conspiracy means you have to be on the premise? Enrique Tarrio was a Proud Boy leader that actually planned the crimes for these people to commit on January 6th. And you're sitting here talking about he wasn't even in D.C. His only crime was to say, don't leave. Whatever the hell he just said is not true. You're lying, Tim. You're lying. And you're sitting here scolding Luke, who probably still knows this information but is letting you get your shit off because he's not like a abrasive person. You sound crazy. This is insane. And all these people that was sucking Tim off in his little beanie, go to hell and read something, because you don't really care about this. You just want to grandstand and look like you won some shit finally, because you're always wrong about everything.
You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts.
I think he should be in jail for 20 years because he planned to overturn the election. He was the headmeister of the Proud Boys for that day.
You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have.
I just can't believe it's just such an act. It's just all this energy should be directed to the man that you just elected to have a billionaire really be the president, and is like on fucking X talking about the government shutdown that he's just so excited about and damn near is the reason it happened. Fuck around. And y'all just regular, but yet you're calling him a fascist because he thinks people that attack the Capitol should be in jail. Get the fuck out of here.
With the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality.
The irony in that is insane, because nobody lies more than, I ain't gonna say nobody. Tim Pool is one of the best, most successful liars on YouTube.
It's a blanket government stroke of the pen, and every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. But when you've got people who are on misdemeanor charges for having walked into a building at 4 p.m. after the riot, and I know some of these people, they walked into a building for 2 minutes and walked out, and they got 18 months for that. I don't see you defending.
But if that's what the legal statute is, then fight that part. If your problem is what they can get sentenced for what they did and they execute on it, they want to make an example out of these people. I'm sure it's like, don't do no shit like this again. We're going to give all of y'all the max. Like, just like, I don't know what jaywalking statute is. I don't know. Maybe you could get 3 months in prison for it. And it sounds absurd. But if they legally, it's on the books that you could get 3 months for jaywalking and you get caught jaywalking and they put you in jail for 3 months, you only can get so mad. But if that's your issue, you have to fight the consequence of the action. You can't get mad because people are like, well, that's what can happen. Like, and especially for you to be this adamant and energized about the matter is insane, bro. You can feel like, damn, that's a bit much, but that's not Luke's fault. They only can sentence them for as long as they can sentence them. If you get 18 months for trespassing on the fucking federal property, then so be it. That's what it is.
The innocent people who walked onto
and I don't care about it for anybody. If this was people that agreed with me politically, I wouldn't change my stance. If that's what can happen, or I can say maybe that's a bit much, maybe, but the fact that this was such a concocted plan, everybody that went to jail wasn't part of the plan, but there was people that made this happen, and it's fucked up. But I think they're being made an example out of, and that has to happen sometime. This is an unprecedented event. We've never had a president deny the election and rile up the people that support him to attack the Capitol. This is unprecedented, and they don't want that shit to ever happen again. What do you expect? This is the first time in American history. You think they're not going to make an example out of these people?
Public grass at a public building after a riot had been completed. You don't know, you don't care. You've taken a tribal position and people are suffering because of it. Now you say that Donald Trump saying the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence. This is the ultimate problem. Then you say
if Trump lets out people that were being violent, that is advocating for violence. Like, I think that goes without saying, bro. Because Trump, well, we got to look into it. Trump feels like everybody that was there had his back, so they're innocent. He don't feel like if you try to attack the police, you stay in jail. He said, no, you was attacking the police for me, so you good. That's how he feel.
Cite a press release from Maryland saying, but the right's more violent. There is a distinction between a white supremacist as...
I mean, if we're going off of current times, people on the right attack Trump, people on the right attack the Capitol, people on the right do mass shootings more often than not. People on the right engage in divisive rhetoric more often than not.
As a right-wing group and a run-of-the-mill Christian conservative who showed up on that day not to protest. Let's talk about Brandon Strzok. He never went in the building. He was on the other side of the building. There was a permitted protest.
He gave a name. Let's see what Brandon Strzok did. Let's finish and see what Tim says about him, and then we'll read and see what he actually did. Because I bet you it doesn't match up.
He walked up the stairs and he was yelling. They put this guy in prison. There is Owen Schroyer who...
And he was yelling. I think the context I think it's fair to say what he yelled mattered, right, y'all? Let's see what he said. Brandon Strzok, a self-described former liberal who founded the Walk Away campaign to encourage people to leave the Democratic Party, admitted to recording himself telling the mob to go, go, go as they reached the Capitol and telling rioters who were wrestling a shield away from U.S. Capitol Police officers to take it, take it. He admitted to recording himself doing this. He pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct on Capitol in October. Whatever. Straka will have to pay a $5,000 fine, the maximum fine allowed, and an additional $500 for the damage done to the Capitol building by the mob. Again, the maximum they're doing. It seems like they're doing the maximum of all of these crimes. They are giving them the max. If the circumstances were different, they might not have given them the max of whatever the statute is for these crimes. So he said, Tim Pool just says he yelled. But clearly what he yelled mattered. He incited people to attack the police and attack the building, and they gave him the max they could for what he did.
Schroyer, who was at a permanent rally, who was yelling death to communists. They put him in prison and specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's fine.
This is the guy Destiny shitted all on in a debate, and I think he did more than that as well. In June 2023, Schroyer pleaded guilty to illegally entering a restricted area of the United States Capitol building during January 6th attack. He was arrested and charged in August 2021. He was sentenced to 60 days in jail. He's 2 months. Prior to his guilty plea, Schroyer agreed to defer his prosecution for interrupting a congressional hearing in 2019. He interrupted a Congress impeachment hearing to share his views that Donald Trump was innocent and that Jerry Nadler, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of shit that's relevant. Yeah, so again, Tim misrepresenting what happened, and dude only got fucking 60 days. Like, come on, bro. They're making an example out of all these people. They don't want none of this to happen again. They're giving them the max possible for the shit that they did. And again, you're acting like Orange Schroyer got 15 years for entering the building. He got 2 months. Stop it, bro. Stop it.
They put him in prison and specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
2 months for actually trespassing the Capitol? Stop. Like, you gotta chill. You're doing too much.
And it's fine. I get it. We try to be polite. We try to be nice. But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad, and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered
that's easy.
with him his plot to overthrow the government.
Enrique Tarrio?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they? Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some data. Stop squinting at me and
look. This is ridiculous, Tim. What the fuck you want him to say? Enrique Tarrio was born on January 17th, 1974, and he was born by the mother and parents of blah, 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 at the Bliss Hospital, and it was cold outside, and it was snowing. His blood type is C. Like, what the fuck do you expect him to say? Don't do this, because you're never this passionate about any information that you spit out. You said a man in Brooklyn. You didn't give us his name. You're lying about the cases that you brought up, and yet you're scolding him for not remembering an exact statute number of whatever crime he did or the time of date it was and what he was wearing that day. Fuck you, bro. This shit is crazy. And it's like, I would be mad at anybody that would present this disingenuously. This is crazy.
and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court paper.
And how do you know that?
All you know is the fascist machine state told you he should be in prison, and you're saying yes to them. Tell me why. Give me the data.
I understand that laws on the books have been there for a long time, that I agree with, that if it's proven that you had a plan and you wanted to act on it, and then days after.
What's the proof?
The proof?
What do you mean, what's the proof? All you're admitting is you didn't look into this shit with Enrique. That's all you're admitting right now, bro. Why are you saying what's the proof? You don't know it. Stop. Whether Luke knows it or not, that means you're either lying because you do know what he did and you're acting like you don't just to posture in front of your fucking audience, or you don't know the info yourself, which is even, I don't know which one is worse. But this is bull. This is bull.
Say the proof. Don't ask.
Say the proof. Look, Tim would never have this energy with anybody else. Like, this is why he's avoiding Destiny, because he could not have this type of conversation with Destiny, because the roles would be reversed. Destiny would be talking to him the way he's talking to Luke, and it's his show, and he cannot allow that. Because the reason he's not letting Destiny on is actually it's such bullshit. Oh, he said that he made fun of Corey Comparator, so I can't let him on because YouTube will kick me off. Destiny has never been even suspended on YouTube. Why would it be any different if he came on your show? What do you think he's gonna come on your show and yell some shit that'll get you banned? Even if that happened, it would be on him and not you. What are we talking about? You're full of shit, bro.
Say it.
Communications between
What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Look at him. What words did come out of his mouth? What language does he speak? How fast? How many words per second did he say?
Is this serious?
And I wish I think Luke is so taken aback because this is a very unserious approach to this conversation. Like, Tim is full of shit right now, and there's no way that you can see it otherwise, because Luke is like, are you serious right now? Like, you're asking me to give you an exact quote, the time of day, the date he said it, and who he said it to, and how he said it, and did he use any emojis in the text? Like, This is crazy, bro. This is not how you approach an honest conversation. It's not. It's not how you approach an honest conversation. And I wish Luke had a little bit more like of a dog in him to get him on his ass, because this is bull.
Are you going to tell me why you think Enrique Tarrio should be in prison for 20 years?
You're mad at whatever his opinion is?
Or are you going to say the government decreed it?
I just explained to you.
So the government said so. Is that it?
What the
It's usually law enforcement, which I guess is a part of the government.
Government said so?
Yep. Law
So you can't
enforcement
say
that uncovers evidence of communications, a memo that he crafted and sent to his organization.
Saying what?
That detailed each institution of government that they were going to try to overthrow. Then just days later, his organization is at the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can even pull up Enrique Tarrio.
I'm not quite sure that there's any evidence of that sort.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this. The idea that Enrique Tarrio crafted a memo outlining
okay.
or they
it's blurry, so I'll show you guys the unblurry version, y'all. I have it pulled up right on Wikipedia. On January 6th, Tarrio told his followers on social media, do what must be done. Later, in an encrypted group chat, he directed other Proud Boys to do it again. In another message, Tarrio wrote, make no mistake, we did this. Prosecutors also introduced evidence that Tarrio had discussed with associates a plan to have a large crowd in Washington storm government buildings. A scheme that the Proud Boys dubbed 1776 returns, in which the Winter Palace was used as a parent code for the U.S. Capitol. Tarrio chose to take the stand to testify in his own defense, a key prosecution for the former boy. Yeah, so yes, Enrique Tarrio was planning this.
3 months featured witness evidence featured at Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups, as well as a public message on Parler. On or before January 6th, Tarrio convened a Ministry of Self-Defense to coordinate Proud Boys leadership on January 6th. The chat showed that Tarrio, stationed in Baltimore, encouraged the Proud Boys as they attacked the Capitol. Let's figure out what that encouragement was. Are they going to actually say in the article? So here's a citation.
They're going to actually say in the article. Again, is he looking for exact statute codes for the laws that were broken and what was said verbatim?
Boy and 3 other members of the far-right groups were convicted Thursday in a plot to attack the Capitol. A jury in Washington, D.C. found Tarrio and 3 lieutenants guilty of seditious conspiracy after hearing dozens of witnesses. Jurors cleared a 5th defendant, Dominic Pizzola, on a citizen charge, and a significant milestone of the Justice Department, which is now secured a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. They will never stop. Okay, that's interesting. Wikipedia asserts that they did this, but there's actually nothing in the news article that actually states that is true.
What? Wikipedia asserts they did that, but there's nothing in the news article that says it's true. What are you talking about, bro? Hold on. Tarrio was a top target of what has become the largest, and it depends on the date of this, too. That matters as much because Wikipedia is going to be more up-to-date than this AP article. Investigation in American history, he led the neo-fascist group known for the street fights with left-wing activists when Trump infamously told the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Well, now we got a problem.
How is that a problem?
Let's try this again. Let's try a secondary source. Let's see. There it is. They introduced evidence that Tarrio discussed with associates a plan to have a large crowd in Washington storm government buildings in a scheme they called 1776 Returns, in which the Winter Palace was used as an apparent code for the U.S. Capitol. In a message, he said, make no mistake, we did this. Do what must be done. And he directed the Proud Boys to do it again.
Tim is reading some of the incriminating evidence that got him convicted. Let's see how he reacts to it.
So the question then becomes, in the bigger picture.
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
Exactly. He's finna act like he didn't just do this big ass grandstand on his soapbox, acting like Luke just was speaking just so crazily. I don't know what, again, all we get is the part that the right loves to suck off. They didn't want to show what happened prior. And he just says, are you going to acknowledge the fact that everything I said is basically laid out right there? And I'm sorry that I don't have the exact penal code that Enrique broke.
I don't think you said it fairly.
I think people should be prosecuted for engaging in plans to overthrow our government. That's kind of
that's a very loose definition of plans to overthrow.
That's a very loose. It's about you actually took a step. You can say a bunch of bullshit, but there's actually steps to make it happen because Enrique fucking directed those group of people to do shit. So the fact that he said it and then it happened, yeah, that's not a very loose definition. Just because these people act like because it wasn't successful, we shouldn't care that much. But If it was successful, then what the fuck would you be saying? This fake ass Undertaker.
Throw the government.
Y'all don't seem to be that informed.
Wait, Luke, respectfully, I cover a lot of protests.
And then you got 3 or 4 people jumping Luke, and he just cut him off as soon as he started talking. He said, I don't think that's...
riots. A lot of people try to protest and riot and occupy government buildings.
Protest.
Do you think that qualifies as trying to...
And if, depending on how far it got, it would depend.
What is it, overthrow your government?
It depends.
Okay, good.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I mean...
But if they had a plan to take control of the government, which was this one.
If this was an
Is
actual
that
plan, this
a
was
plan?
the leastly
That's a
poorly
plan to take
most
over the government?
See what I'm saying? If this was a plan, this was the leastly planned, the poorly executed. They sucked at it. That doesn't mean they didn't try to do it. If you come in and try to rob a bank with BB guns, you still try to rob the bank. Are you going to get charged with attempted murder if you shot people? Maybe not. Maybe not unless you thought you had a real gun or something. Then it could be attempted murder because you tried to kill somebody with something you thought was a real gun. But if you knew you was coming to rob a bank with a BB gun and you tried to shoot them, they can't get you with attempted murder, but you definitely could get charged with breaking and entering, attempted robbery, whatever the fuck comes with all of that. Whatever you did, you can get charged with all that shit, and they can show as much mercy or they can show as much non-mercy as they please within the limits of the crime.
ridiculous plan ever. They went after people for having Lego sets.
Shut the fuck up, bro. Y'all saying anything to just justify the bullshit that y'all have to justify for your platform to exist.
Of the Capitol. Yeah. I mean, the level of political prosecution here. Would you even admit that there was some level of politics when it came to the prosecution of the J6ers? Would you say politics played a role?
Because I'm engaging with this as
shit.
thoughtfully as possible, not trying to grandstand. Of course,
Like Tim.
often for very justifiable reasons, prosecutors will try to make an example of someone who, for example, tried to overthrow the government to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. I see why such a thing,
personally, I reject the idea that
categorized
is
as
trying to
sedition.
overthrow.
Personally, I reject. No, they tried to overthrow the fucking government. Y'all keep acting like because it didn't happen successfully, they didn't try to do it. They tried to do it. And Enrique was spearheading the Proud Boys to do it.
The government.
Stop.
Would be uniquely bad to prosecutors and political in that this all involved politics, right? And thus,
I'm sorry, I have
message
to
has
say
to be
this.
sent.
The Wikipedia article making those claims is not citing any actual proof that they said those things.
What? There's no proof that they said it. Yeah, fuck the, how many we got? I'm still scrolling. Fuck the 94 sources that's along with Enrique Tarrio's page on Wikipedia. There's 94 sources for the claims, within this. I just love how Tim doesn't care about any of that. There's no proof. What you're looking for, like the indictments, you're looking for the court documents, because that's I'm sure that's something you can find too. If I can, I'll post it. Depending on how long it take me to get this up and how the editing process is. But this shit ain't like, if everything is this much of a conspiracy and everybody's lying to you, Tim, you need to be able to defend that position. If you want to say that, if you want to doubt everything that came out of the man getting put in jail for 22 years, if you want to doubt it, you need a lot of reasons to doubt it. Because we accept it because we've seen enough to where it's like, he did that shit, but you don't want to accept it. So you need to make sure you do your homework to be able to defend why that's not okay. Yeah, now you're treating Wikipedia like you don't use it as a source. After you used it as a source and it proved you wrong, now all of a sudden Wikipedia is not telling me where to get all of this information. I don't even know if it's true now. Wikipedia might be lying to me. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah, I know I got heated in this one, y'all. I'm sorry, but I think it was well warranted. If Tim could get that heated over a situation and be wrong, then I can get that upset to combat his lying and deceitfulness and how disingenuous he's being. I just really wish that somebody that was more formidable was there to argue with him. Hell, even if it wasn't Destiny, who these people are so deathly afraid to debate. I think even somebody like Pisco could have went against him at this moment. I would even take Rashard Crenshaw to go against him in this moment. This is ridiculous. I don't know why Luke. I don't know if Luke just didn't want to get this big back and forth going, or he was just taken aback and couldn't do it, or it's not his, it's not his personality or whatever. Regardless, optically, it looked bad on Luke, but as far as the substance, he didn't say much and still came out on top. The claims he made was backed up by the source that Tim on his own used to look up. And when he saw that he looked stupid, when he looked it up, he tried to doubt it all of a sudden, even though that was what he went to. So it's not much to really argue about over here. Tim is a nut, and everybody that sucks it off, you're just as nutty. If you made it to this point in the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.